Alright guys, welcome to my video on the LEGO Arma 3 BlackFish. Now I believe to date I'm the only person to have created this vehicle twice out of LEGO. I've looked around and I have not seen anyone else make this out of LEGO. I think the reason being it's a pretty obscure vehicle. First you'd have to have played Arma 3, know what Arma 3 is. You would have to have the DLC. And then you'd also have to have the parts and skill to build this. Now, this wasn't the most challenging build for sure, but I think it's unique enough in the selection of parts that you would need that very few people could actually accomplish this. So I think that's one of the unique things about this particular build. First, I'm going to start by showing some gameplay. Okay, so again, here's the ship I built, and then here is a picture of it in the game. It's actually based off the real-life vehicle called the V22 OSPREY. This is kind of like a fictional vehicle that's maybe like a next-gen iteration, a cross between an OSPREY and an AC-130. So this is a direct comparison between my build and the in-game model. Next you have a comparison between the new model and my old black ship. I have an entire video on that if you want to check it out. Now here's a comparison between the game model and my original design. Now this design here is interesting. I'm not exactly sure what this is, if this was a concept art or something for the model in the game before they built it, but I actually took a little bit of inspiration from this as well when building my model, and here you can see a side-by-side comparison between those two. Now the underside of this looks a little rough in certain places. A big accomplishment of mine was getting the landing gear to be fully functional on either side. The rear landing gear, all three of them roll up together and it's totally flush with the bottom. The front landing gear also folds right up into the fuselage, and it's a little hard to see from here, but there's also a point defense gun up front that's folded up, and I'll show what that looks like when it's deployed in another picture. Now this is one of the very interesting things about this design that I made. It is fully compatible with either LEGO figures or Mega Construx figures. Right now those figures are sitting in LEGO chairs and they're being held into place by grabbing onto some controls. As far as their legs, I just made an extra little well so that their longer legs could fit down there, but LEGO figures just ignore that space. And as far as headroom in the little hallway, it'll work for either one. This side door opens up. I originally wanted it to be closer to the cockpit because I think that would have made more sense, but there was just no reasonable way that I could have fit it in, and it's a little bit incomplete right now. That's one of the things I intend to work on again in the future. Now it's a little bit cramped in there, but this vehicle has 3 guns on the side. There's a Gatling gun, a mid-range gun, and there's a heavy cannon. And there are 3 different loaders in there. If you can see, the box has the minigun ammo, and there's 2 bigger loaders. Now you can see on the right side, those yellow things are supposed to be the shells for the guns, and there's sort of a mechanical arm with like a claw, and that's supposed to be an auto loader for those turret systems. On real life AC-130s, on videos and pictures that I've seen, most of it's actually done by hand, but I figure on a next generation aircraft like this, they might have an auto loader on board. Unfortunately, I did have to take up a lot of interior space to make this happen, but I think it was worth it because it looks kind of neat. And of course, just like in the game, this could be configured in a totally as a passenger vehicle, and you could take all the guns out, strip it all out, and just put more chairs in there for greater crew capacity. And of course you have the rear ramp that folds down. And this here is a bonus design. This was an early iteration of the vehicle here. As you can see, the front looks totally different. Almost looks more like an airplane, and I had to do a lot of trickery with hinges to get those front pieces together. I don't actually think this looks terrible, but this just isn't what I was going for, and I kind of discovered that after I built it. I thought it was going really well, and but then I'm like, this doesn't look anything like the model in the game. This looks like an airplane, and again, I don't think it's terrible, but it's not what I was going for, so I had to scrap that pretty early on, and I thought that was worth sharing as a bonus. Alright guys, thanks for watching, and have a good day.